How many hearts have you broken with those great big beautiful eyes? Those great big beautiful eyes that tell such beautiful lies.
How many times have you kissed somebody like you kissed me then? I don't.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and all ships at sea. We interrupt this broadcast to bring you an important message from the Prepared Mind Network.
I think ever since you've come into office, things are really looking up. You know, gas is up, rent is up, food is up, everything. No, it really has been a tough first year for you, Mr. President. Gas is up, gas is up, gas is up, everything. Rent is up, everything, everything, everything. Gas is up, rent is up, food is up, gas is up, rent is up, food is up, everything.
There he is. Hey, everybody, it is Monday. It's Kabuki Theater. There's games on top of games on top of games. They're pulling at you, folks. They're doubting you have an understanding. And I'm talking about the Republicans, the rhinos. I'm talking about the Democrats and the socialists. We're all being played. And we've got some evidence coming down. I want you to think, always remember, if we don't have liberty as individuals, we can't have liberty as a nation. So they're going to try and pretend to use words and make us believe them. But trust me, they're coming after all of us. Now, let's apply some different kind of thinking to what's going on here. Oh, by the way, Monday, you are live if you're with me on Monday. And that means thepreparedmind.club and subscribestar.com, where you pay $2 a month, and all week long you can come on here for free and we rap about what's happening. Now, to the satirical facts. In Georgia, their prosecutors are looking at conspiracy charges and RICO, or racketeering charges, against Trump. Why and when? Well, because he challenged the election back in 2020. So let's see. Racketeering, RICO, conspiracy charges. You can now politically persecute someone for exercising their constitutional rights to using the legal system. Now, you may say, I don't like Trump. You may say, I don't like his efforts. Really, though, you're not allowed to file lawsuits? No. How about this? Apply this to the Second Amendment challenges we have. Can you imagine if the government passes a gun rights destroyer, right? A gun control law. And you, through the NRA or some other national firearms association, decide to challenge that. And they say, no. That's racketeering. That's a conspiracy that you are using as justification for your lawsuit. So now prosecutors and judges are showing up as the #1 impediment to our rights. Are they not? And wait. Haven't we heard for the last year, no, 2 years, about all of the district attorneys? That's right, folks, government prosecutors who George Soros has helped get elected with all of his moolah. You want to talk about racketeering. You want to talk about conspiracy to control, to own the political system. It's coming, folks. It is coming. Now, where the heck is my stuff? I tell you what, I had some great stuff here. It looks like it's been removed. I don't like that at all. Okay, let us do this. I'm just going to go over here and I'll just relive it with you guys live. We got a problem, folks, with the media. We have a huge problem. What a shocking twist is the headline on Gateway Pundit. Really? McCarthy, folks, Kevin McCarthy has supposedly gone further to conservatism than Ron DeSantis, Governor DeSantis, on the corrupt politicization of the justice system, the prosecution of Trump. And the mainstream media and even Gateway Pundit are jumping all over Governor DeSantis because, well, Speaker of the House, Kevin Meatball McCarthy, is now criticizing the Democrats and their Democrat puppet who is using the justice system to try and prosecute Trump. Now, over the weekend, right, Meathead McCarthy condemned this. He was out in front of microphones multiple times saying that New York City's district attorney, Alvin Bragg, is filing bogus charges against Donald Trump. And I don't believe it for a second, folks. Now, Governor DeSantis has not said a lot. And what he has said has been rather, shall we say, uneventful. Hasn't been a big deal. Now, here's my take on it. And I would like to know what you think of this as well. Who is the only governor or who is the lead governor to open up state during COVID, during the lockdowns, during the bullshit that followed? Who is the only governor to say, you know what, fuck this, we're done? That would be Governor DeSantis. Where was McCarthy at this time? What was he really doing? See, here's the difference between talking about politics and actually doing something with political authority. Where has Meathead McCarthy been on doing something about Biden? Afghanistan, folks. Afghanistan. Where has he been during Afghanistan? Where has he been, folks, on the border crisis? Where has he been? That's right. He hasn't been anywhere. He's been completely absent, McCarthy, of actually taking real action. Real action, not a bunch of bullshit. Not a bunch of kabuki theater, not a bunch of lies, not a bunch of crap. You see, I think that there was never any intent to really prosecute Trump on this. It's a big smokescreen. It's a bunch of shit. And the reason I've come to that conclusion, or for the purposes of this argument and discussion, is because McCarthy is being put up and held up as some great Republican icon. He has been a rhino. He has been a sellout. He has been a kiss ass of Nancy Pelosi's and the Democrats forever. He was the absolute worst pick ever for Speaker of the House and lost more votes than anyone ever for Speaker of the House, and had to bribe, in a manner of speaking, that is, give in, concession after concession after concession to get enough votes to win it. He is not a conservative, McCarthy, but now we're supposed to think of him as that. See this criticism of the district attorney, that's fine and dandy if you want to do that. Yeah, but if you knew that it was never going to happen because, well, since 2016, they've been trying to convict, they've been trying to prosecute Trump over this same bullshit charge. 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and now we're in our 7th year. All of a sudden, a little chicken shit district attorney in New York City is going to do something the federal courts couldn't, special investigators couldn't, the FBI couldn't, nobody could find any real evidence to have a real trial. All of a sudden, though, some little chicken shit peon district attorney has got the evidence, the goods. No. You see, I think this is being done to rile up the Democrats and their hatred for Trump and to call for violence against you. And trust me, that's out there. And we're going to cover that in this very show. You're in big trouble, my friends. Me too. We're all in big trouble. So all of a sudden Trump is going to get arrested, or is this Kabuki theater? It's show. It is time for public appearances and speeches and flashing lights in order to make people feel big and powerful. And McCarthy jumps into the limelight and starts criticizing that. He's not going to do anything. There's no need for McCarthy to do anything, and he can't do a fucking thing about it anyways. If congressmen, several of them, can't go to the DC police lockup, the jail system, and free the January 6th protesters for trespassing and parading on federal ground, because some of them held flags. I guess that's a parade when you're holding a flag and walking. That meets the definition of parading. Okay. But McCarthy's going to throw a fit, and in New York City, he's going to have more pool than he would have in DC. It's a bullshit. Trump has been able to get up and grandstand and let everybody know that this ain't going to happen, right? He wanted everyone excited, be there and protest. Once again, jumping in front of the cameras, in front of the flashing lights. DeSantis hasn't participated in that. But where, folks, and trust me, I am not going to just follow DeSantis to the end of the earth and kiss his ass and praise him either. I just think that he saw all this as a bunch of grandstanding political bullshit. And that's what I think it is. What did McCarthy actually do to make you more free? Nothing. All he has done is criticizing someone who is a clear partisan shill. Big fucking whoop. Where's the impeachment of Joe Biden? That is within McCarthy's power and authority for, once again, what happened in Afghanistan, the southern border, all of his conspiratorial actions in line with Hunter in China and Ukraine. And we could go on and on and on. Secret documents, you bet. Where is the impeachment? He hasn't even used the word, but we're supposed to believe now he's so far right of DeSantis, it's unbelievable. I'm not buying it, folks. This all stinks to high heaven. Now, if Trump knew it was all bullshit and nothing would come of it, he should have said so, instead of calling for people to protest. And the people like you and me, said, we're not going. We're not buying it. I think it's 85% of Trump supporters know and smell another setup like January 6th. I think that was the number I saw. Also a Gateway Pundit article. People have had it with this bullshit. I've had it with this bullshit. I really have. I've had it with the lies and the stupidity. I've had it with us being drug around by the nose and told, half truths and no truths at all. It is becoming very, very frustrating, right? Like putting steel barricades outside the Manhattan District Attorney's office. For what? For no protesters who showed up. They're hoping they could generate a bunch of shit, but there was nothing. Yeah, here it is. 85% of Trump supporters think protesting is another January 6th style trap. You got it, folks. It's all Kabuki theater. Now get this, right? The NSC Communications Director, Mr. John Big Mouth Kirby, says that we should not accept a ceasefire offer from Russia because, well, that ceasefire would favor Putin. That ceasefire would favor Russia. How does it, what, right? Now, attention DC tards. So far in the war with Ukraine, everything has favored Putin and everything has favored Russia. More than Ukraine, more than the US, Great Britain, European Union, NATO allies. But the only people who have benefited would be bankers and bullet makers, right? They've made substantial money on armament sales and funding all of this crap. But a ceasefire, folks, could benefit someone, the Ukrainian people. They are being shredded in the battles with Russia and Russia's army. But they are meat puppet cannon fodder, folks. But John Kirby says that needs to continue. Ukrainians need to continue to stand up in front of the Russian army and be mowed down, because to call a ceasefire is going to benefit Russia somehow. So the Biden administration says, let the Ukrainian people continue to get slaughtered. Who wants stupid peace anyway, right? Unbelievable. They want a ceasefire so they can negotiate? Nope, nope. They don't want a ceasefire, folks. No, Russia wants a ceasefire, but the West wants to keep fighting. Unbelievable. Putin has made more money, and Russia has made more money since the war has started. Unbelievable. Just fucking unbelievable with these people, folks. And that's all tough talk coming out of John Kirby, coming out of DC, coming out of the Biden administration. Tough talk. Are they suffering? Is Washington, D.C. dealing with bombings, power outages, food shortages? Are people in Washington, D.C. being shot to shit by Russians? No. Nope, nope, nope. That's not how it goes. That's not where that's going. Unbelievable, folks, where all of this leads. It leads to absolute despotic tyranny, period. That's exactly where it leads to. And it's not going to continue to get better for the world. It's going to continue to get worse. Let's do this. I hope you're getting your questions down below. Uman's in the house. He's got the questions. He's got the questions. You and I, folks. Thank you, Uman. We have our work cut out for us to watch what is happening and not get sucked in to the lies, not fall for the fake stage act that we're all supposed to see. We need to look behind the curtain and see who is pulling the levers and pushing the buttons. We really do. Now, here's a big one. An environmental social governance law that wants to stop that garbage, right? Basically what's going on is there's a rule in place that allows asset managers of banks and lending and financial and investment institutions to prioritize where they invest, not by the risk that's being taken. So you want them to take more huge risks because there is a political agenda that they like? Yes, you bet. That's how they're doing it. No longer do they say, where is the best, safest money at? Now it's about political agenda and investing. So these idiots are throwing money at dangerous, risky investments because, well, they're woke, right? They're woke companies with woke ideas. And Biden has come out and he's vetoed this restriction on that rule. He wants to continue to have this ESG rule in place so banks, lending institutions, financial institutions, everybody that has anything to do with the economy can continue to make shitty investments because it meets their political agenda first and foremost. Credit Suisse, the second largest bank in the world. How many billions do you think the second largest private bank in the world should be worth? $2, $3, $4, $5 trillion worth of investments? It was bought for $3.2 billion, not trillions, $1 billion. And then the Bank of Switzerland gave them what, $100 billion to help prop it up in cash? How long till they blow through that and lose it? The investment leader at Credit Suisse, guess what that person is? Mark Dice. Go to the Mark Dice channel and check it out. They've got a, folks, dyed-in-the-wool fruitcake trans person who is in charge of their investments at Credit Suisse. Can you imagine that? They're not even trans. They're non-binary. They don't accept any gender identification. This they, them, that, whatever that person is. Is it any wonder that Credit Suisse, the second largest bank in the world, is taking an absolute shit? Do you think JP Morgan's going to do the same thing? It could, I guess. Do you think Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan, would let that happen? I sure hope not. But this is what they're allowing. They want this kind of crap out there, right? They want it. They want their woke agenda. They want their voodoo economics, right? Because they believe in it so much, it's just going to magically make money. No, folks. ESG in business is already a failure. It's demonstrated already. But Democrats want it. They want woke, and they don't care about the destruction. Folks, idiots who don't even know what their gender is, who don't accept their gender, they're not going to accept reality. They're going to look at a company and they're going to see rainbow-colored snowflakes shooting out of a unicorn's ass. And they're going to go and invest in it. They're going to invest in companies that have gay CEOs and companies that have rainbow-colored hair in the boardroom. They won't look at the actual charts. Is this a real company that produces a real thing? No, fuck it. Just give them money. We don't care. How can that go wrong? Gee whiz, I wonder, how can that possibly go bad? You know, what could happen that could make things... It's painfully obvious, folks, what is going on. I'm gonna refer back again to McCarthy and DeSantis because I'm so pissed off about it. This claim that McCarthy is some sort of hero now, and then DeSantis. He is a governor who freed his state of Hitler-esque cerveza-bug policies, and he's bad now. Right? While shit-heel Rhino McCarthy, he's a hero suddenly. Right? This Trump prosecution is a public relations stunt. And what's it doing? It's inflaming the liberals. And it's pissing off the MAGA crowd. And DeSantis didn't join in the chorus of screaming and yelling in this game that's being played, this Kabuki theater. So DeSantis is bad? Hardly, folks. Now, get this. If Trump actually was handcuffed, actually arrested, and actually carted away, then and only then could we look to DeSantis and say, you got something to say? What the fuck, bro? Where you at? Are you going to condemn this now? But see, Trump wasn't actually carted away. Trump wasn't actually arrested, and he was not handcuffed. There is no arrest warrant for him. So this is all Kabuki theater. It is a political stunt being played by both sides against their people. Right? The Democrats want their people wound up, and Trump has wound up all of his people. And Meathead McCarthy, once again, folks, has never mentioned impeaching Biden for his real crimes and his real violations of his oath that have damaged America. His decisions, folks, Afghanistan, the border, mandates, remember that? You will take that stuff or we're going to fire you, we're going to cut your contract, we're going to kick you out of the military, we're going to ruin your lives. But now McCarthy is a hero for some words about a sham bullshit propaganda arrest that didn't happen. And McCarthy's words won't result in any action, folks. Your rights will not be bolstered and backed up by anything McCarthy does. There'll be no improvement in your freedoms. There'll be no new restrictions on government coming out of McCarthy. So why is he a hero? Why is DeSantis bad? Right? It's the shit show Comedy Central channel, folks. Only it's on every network. Are you thinking? Are you prepared? It truly is. What's really going on out there? Well, banks are failing. Central banks are buying all the gold they can, folks. There's two markets for precious metals. There's a paper market, which they keep suppressed, while they steal all the gold off of the physical markets. It is a fire sale for precious metals, folks. And the banks are buying it, the central banks are buying it, and the rich people are buying the fuck out of it. That tells me one thing. They're going to revalue it. Actually, it tells me a few things. Gold is going to go way, way up. Whether it's revalued or it just climbs precipitously for a long time, it's going to go up. And if you don't own gold, well, you don't get to participate in the new wealth. There is nothing new with that. The bankers, the rich, and the politicians have always lined their pockets because they know what's coming. And they don't tell us, and they don't give us a chance to get in on it. Well, in this case, folks, we've been talking about this, you and I, for quite some time. While they tax the shit out of us, while they lock us in our homes, while they tell us, right, where you have to spend your money, Obamacare. They're lining, folks, their vaults with all the gold they can get their hands on. That's what's happening, folks. There's a huge wealth transfer. When UBS can buy Credit Suisse for $3.2 billion, while Silicon Valley Bank can go under and squander the shit out of their money on worthless crap and then have, right, the dollar be printed off to save them. Everything's fine though, right? The Biden economy. Oh, no. Amazon is going to fire another 9,000 workers. No problem there. Look, squirrel. It's Kabuki theater. Public service announcement, folks, right? It's incredible. It's incredible. They're to help shore up Credit Suisse, they created this thing called the AT1, and it's a tier 1 investment apparently. That's supposed to back up and protect Credit Suisse, right? What is it? A bond? You're buying a bond to protect the other bonds. They haven't failed. And the European regulators are trying to calm their markets, while over here we got Joe Biden saying everything's fine. And we look back to Bernanke, Benjamin Shlomo Bernanke, back in 2008, said the subprime contagion is contained. There's nothing to worry about, folks. Everything is fine. Everything is fine here. And guess what? I mean, just days before Silicon Valley Bank collapsed, they had an accounting firm take a look at it. KPMG, one of, I guess, the big four. They gave Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank clean bill of health. They went in there, he gave them the old Fauci 2 fingers in the bunghole and said, oh, everything's fine. Or, I mean, is KPMG completely incompetent not to see what others have been warning about those 2 banks? Or did, Silicon Valley Bank identify as a safe bank? And did KPMG identify as fully competent? But don't worry, anyways, right? The Fed and the FDIC, they made everyone okay. They gave everyone their money back, while going right to Congress with Janet Yellen saying, well, your bank probably won't because you're not part of the club. We have an incredible shit show. This week has just begun. It's just begun, folks. What is it? 168 or was it 186 banks are in serious trouble, right? Well, I've got even more on that. The central banks, that is the government or the banks that fund governments in the West, meaning America, Canada, Europe, those banks all came together, folks, to provide daily liquidity of dollars to stop a worldwide banking collapse. This is some serious shit, folks. I'm going to read to you the Federal Reserve's release. And it is vomitous, folks. I want you to take heed. I want you to take warning. And folks, take all precautions. You going to leave your money in a bank? Here it is, quote, coordinated central bank action to enhance the provision of U.S. dollar liquidity. The Bank of Canada, the Bank of England, the Bank of Japan, the European Central Bank, the Federal Reserve, and the Swiss National Bank are today announcing a coordinated action to enhance the provision of liquidity via the standing US dollar liquidity swap line arrangements. To improve the swap line's effectiveness in providing US dollar funding, the central banks currently offering US dollar operations have agreed to increase the frequency of 7-day maturity operations from weekly to daily. These daily operations will commence Monday, March 20th, and continue through the end of April. Right? The network of swap lines among these central banks is a set of available standing facilities and serve as an important liquidity backstop to ease the strains in global funding markets, thereby helping to mitigate the effects of such strains on the supply of credit to households and businesses. In other words, they're all ready to get together to provide, folks, all of the money printing necessary to keep everyone going. Because they know if Japan collapses, then the US collapses. They know if Europe collapses, the US and Japan collapses. They're all getting together to back up, backstop, to make sure there's funding available, not on a week-by-week basis, but now on a daily basis. They have to be there, ready to bail out banks before they collapse. How are we going to get out of this? If the current practices of investment bankers and nations, that is to say, shitty governments, has gotten us to this point where things are collapsing, just throwing some more money at it is not going to fix the problem. The problem is how they spend. The problem is how they invest, ESG and other bullshit. The problem is how they tax us, how they regulate us and stamp down productivity with their carbon taxes and anti-carbon bullshit, with all their social programs. All of that is ruining the world, folks. And then the banks are going to fail because they're corrupt. They're absolutely corrupt. There's no doubt about it. And they allow the politicians and the large corporations to screw everyone over. And so the system is failing. Unbelievable, folks. They are afraid of a worldwide banking collapse, and they should be, based on what we're reading. US banks are going down. European banks are going down. So all they can do is print a shit pile of money. Amazing. Let's do this. Let us get to your questions. It is now that time. It is now, time to Ask John Live. What's on your mind, huh? And I tell you what, oh man, what a day, man. What an absolute day of days. I mean, the banks did not collapse today. They did not arrest Trump today. I mean, gold did not go up to $10,000 today. Half the world didn't die of cerveza bug or Jim Jones juice today, but you can see what direction we're going in. Oh yeah. Get this, in Washington, D.C., Muriel Bowser, Bow Wow Ugly Bowser, joined literally Dr. Fauci in the flesh, and they went door to door asking if people have gotten the Jim Jones juice, trying to pressure everyone to get the Jim Jones juice, door to door, and trying to do a PR stunt, more Kabuki fucking theater. And so they were met by a man on the street. And he argued with Fauci directly. Every argument you and I could have, this guy actually put out there. And he refused to accept the lies coming out of Fauci's mouth in direct refutation of what this man was saying. You're saying it's not safe. You can't come up with a Jim Jones juice that works in 9 months. He argued, legitimately argued, debated, had point-by-point refutations against anything this clown said. He challenged the legitimacy of Dr. Doom's bullshit, point by point, and he won. And when Fauci was walking away, beaten and defeated by a man on the street who did a far better job than I could have, he said this: your campaign is about fear. It's about inciting fear in people. You all attack people with fear. That's what this pandemic is. It's fear. It's fear, this pandemic. That's all it is. And Fauci walked off. Folks, being informed, having a prepared mind, being ready to face your adversaries. This guy really, really gets my vote for standing up to these scumbags like that and hitting them, not with just cussing at them, but rather facts. He had his shit together up here, folks. And it was good here. And so he was good with himself and good with what he knew, and he let Fauci know it. Calm, cool, collected. All you are is fear, and everything you spout off is lies. All right, Uman, it is Monday, brother. How are you? And hey, we're going to jump right into it with Bioxo, who checks in with us. Good golly. Bioxo says, so an old friend messaged me today asking a random question about something from 20 years ago. Then said the reason he asked was because he had a stroke in September. He currently lives in Canada. He had 2 Jim Jones juice injecciones and has had 2 heart attacks and a stroke and is lucky to be alive. How do you think this man would react if Dr. Fauci came and knocked on his door? Hey, I want to make sure you've gotten your Jim Jones juice. And the guy who has had 2 heart attacks and a fucking stroke answers the door and says, I've had 2 Jim Jones juice. Thank you very much. Do you think I need more at this point? Crazy stuff. Lucky to be alive. Yes. And then lucky to be alive. I would hate to be, how old is he? Do we have an age on him? Man, I can't remember. I mean, let's just say he's 50. I would not want to be this age, 50. I'm actually 53. Hard to believe. 53 years old and had 2 fucking heart attacks and a stroke, knowing I could live another 30 or 40 years in absolute pain and agony, crippled, brain dead, because these jackasses wanted me to take their experimental concoction. No thanks. Literally, no thanks. What if you're 40? Can you imagine another 40 or 50 years as a fucking vegetable? Having to take all of their drugs to keep the blood clots from giving you more strokes, trouble breathing, shortness of breath, neurological pain and problems. That's what's out there, folks. We all know people now. We all know people. We do. How many people do you know were killed in Afghanistan? How many people do you know have been adversely affected by the Jim Jones juice? I know more people hurt, injured, and killed from the Jim Jones juice than I know people hurt and killed in Afghanistan. I'm not marginalizing those veterans who served this country, who tried serving freedom and serving Americans. What I'm talking about is the absolute deadliness of this Jim Jones juice and how dangerous it is and how they continue to push that shit. It is about fear. It's about inciting fear within people. That's all it is. That guy from DC, I wish I could shake his hand and buy him a frickin' beer or a scotch or a glass of wine or whatever it is he wants. We need more people like that, folks. People who will stand up and let him go. And that's what we're trying to do here is say prep to action. Get prepared, right? Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, plan, all that. But then take action. Learn this stuff and share it with people. Today, Fauci got an earful from a regular citizen who didn't cuss him out, who just gave him the facts. And I'm sure Fauci thought, that poor dumb son of a bitch, right? He's just got a bunch of Trump lies in his head. That's all. Well, that guy watched Fauci wash off, and he knew that he was looking at the devil right there. How many people have suffered because of Fauci? I'm not talking about just from the Jim Jones Jews. People that lost their businesses, lost their jobs, lost their retirement, lost their family because of the lockdowns and the bullshit and the lies. Fauci even told this guy in DC that if you don't get your jab, then cerveza is going to keep spreading all around the world. Never mind the fact that if you get the juice and get the boosters and get the boosters and get the boosters, every time you get it, your immune system goes down and down and down and increases your chance of getting sick and dying all the more. But, you know, listen to Dr. Fauci. He's actually the one who's going to save you, right? He's your savior. All right, man, where do we want to go next? Okay. There we are. Okay. I'm going to the right place here, man. I didn't know what the number was. Okay. We have David Clinton. He says, the biggest loser in Credit Suisse is the Saudis. They are not happy. I tell you what, yeah, the Saudis have been putting their money in the bank. And it's the same all around the world, folks. These banks take their money and they invest it in corporations. They invest it in companies. They make loans to other businesses. And what businesses do they choose? Environmental, social, governments, dominated, woke, voodoo, bullshit companies. FTX, anyone? How many more FTXs are there out there? How many more Sam Bankman-Fried style businesses are there out there where people think they're going to get rich off of a bunch of bullshit and smoke? They're not investing in a mining company. They're not investing in real technology. They're not investing in something real like food and farming. Oh, they're investing in, well, it's hard to say what they're investing in. Technology that like AI technology. Let's spend trillions of dollars on artificial intelligence. Why? Oh, well, artificial intelligence will save the world. No, artificial intelligence has decided humans are dangerous and wants to kill us. I know. I just kind of did an ad hominem on artificial intelligence. How come Credit Suisse is broke? Is it because they have a complete nutter in charge of their investments? I'm pretty sure that has a lot to do with it. Are they making bad loans? Yeah. If they're making bad investments and bad loans, of course they're going to go under. My question for the Saudis is, what the fuck were you thinking? Sending billions and billions and trillions of dollars to Credit Suisse to let them invest. Well, I guess they believe that the system was fairly operating. I guess they really believe that. Money laundering, folks. Racketeering. Lying, cheating, stealing. What has Hunter Biden been doing in Ukraine? Or what was he doing in Ukraine? What was he doing in China? He was shaking people down for money. Send your money to Ukraine, folks. Send it on over there so that you can invest in the newest technologies being developed in a country torn to pieces with corruption. It's just one of many. How many other places, how many other corporations are money pits where money is sent and it's not accounted for like FTX? Did you know? I mean, get this. I'm going to pick on FTX a little more, right? This is unfucking believable. Where is it? Give me the story here. Everything is hard. There's so much stuff here, folks. There's so much. It is hard to find all of the things that have gone on. I'm just gonna pick on this one. We already knew about that one. Sam Bankman-Fried paid himself $1 billion just before filing for bankruptcy. He paid himself and his good buddies all kinds of money, folks. Sam Bankman-Fried paid himself, over $2 billion. And his team, his management team at FTX, got paid another $1 billion right before filing bankruptcy. Folks, that's real fraud. That's real corruption, and it's real. It's really here right now. How many more corporations are doing that? Paying themselves to go broke, giving themselves bonuses, paying all of their executives huge sums of money to fuck everyone else over. Sam Bankman-Fried paid himself out of everyone else's retirements $2 billion. He was arrested, sent to New York City for trial. They said, you can go home while we're doing your trial. And he gets to fly all the way, folks, to California and live in his parents' home and then complain that people are pissed off and threatening him. He's living in his parents' home. He's a fucking billionaire. $2 billion. And that's just what he paid himself at the end. How many bonuses along the way did he just decide to give himself? I'm doing such a great job sending this money over to Ukraine to launder it and pay it back to people like Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, other big shot bigwigs in Washington, D.C. I'm laundering money for the real team. I'm going to pay myself $1 billion and then $2 billion. What the fuck? You wonder why shit's falling apart. And they're telling you, you will own nothing and you'll like it. Just off the hook, folks. It's off the hook. Ooh, man, who do we have next? Charles Gentry says, Biden to slobbered on Zelensky. Many of you will take a dirt nap. This is a sacrifice I am willing to make for you. You bet. Right? Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. This is what they're saying. Yeah, we don't want a ceasefire because, well, that would benefit your side. Folks, a ceasefire benefits the military on both sides because they're not getting shot at and killed. Because that's what happens in a ceasefire. They cease firing. It doesn't mean you're allowed to move your troops into a better position to slaughter the enemy while they're taking a nap. It's a ceasefire. Now, do we have that straight? Right? You bet. Many of you will take a dirt nap. Many of you will die, but this is a sacrifice Mr. Zelensky is willing to make on everyone else's behalf. While he goes to the, Italian Riviera. It's beyond, folks. It is absolutely beyond belief. Thank you, Charles, very much for your continuing support of the channel, your comments, questions, thoughts, etc. Who do we want to put up next? Mr. Uman is Chin Music. Also, this is fucking dandy. This was a dandy one. Several private jets landed in Omaha. What were private jets flocking into Omaha, Nebraska for? From all over the country, even, I'm sure, around the world. Well, you see, Warren Buffett came to town. And he was there to tell Joe Biden and everyone else how to solve the problems of the world. I didn't even read your question right, Chin Music. He said, several private jets landed in Omaha with tail numbers from all over the country to see Uncle Warren. I did not talk about this last night. We didn't get to it. Uman and I had a glittering conversation about this crap that's going on with Trump. And is Trump the good guy? Is Trump on one team? Are they all on shitty teams? Or, are we rooting for crap? Or, anyways, it was a great conversation. And here we are today, Kabuki Theater. But yeah, over the weekend, Warren Buffett, rich old fuck, 93 years old, and Joe Biden at 82 needs to go see a 93-year-old man about how to save the country. Folks, it is Warren Buffett. It is Charlie Munger, his partner. It is Joe Biden, a politician. It is Mitt Romney, politician. Nancy Pants Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, all of those people. They are responsible for where we're at now. So we now need what? We now need more George Soros. We need more Warren Buffett. We need more Zark Muckerberg. We need more Christine Lagarde. We need more Jerome Powell of the Federal Reserve, Chief Goon Powell himself, as Craig Hemke Turd Ferguson likes to call him. Yeah, I'm sure they solved all the problems right there in Omaha for us as they spewed tons of carbon into the air to get their grisly asses in front of Santa Buffett. They're showing up, folks, and they're listening to this crap, but they're really there for the cocktails and the hors d'oeuvres and to pat each other on the back and themselves as well, congratulating themselves and excusing one another, as we like to say. And if you guys, anyone knows that reference, then you are my brother. This is incredible. Warren Buffett talking about problems does as much solving as Kevin McCarthy criticizing a district attorney for getting the press all excited about a prosecution that would be impossible to happen, inexcusable to defend, and childish to attempt to pull off. And everyone wanted camera time for it. They wanted to get in front of a camera and grandstand. They gave everyone something to talk about, did they not? Yeah, they did. We all got to talk about it. Now, this I wanted to cover, and I talked about it in my head today. The claim is, John, all you guys do is talk about this shit and think about this shit. It does no good. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's a fucking mistake to make. Number one, if you're going to go hunting for a deer, you invest a lot of money in a rifle. You invest a lot of money in a scope. You spend time at the range, round after round, putting it downrange on target. You buy maps. You get a permit or a license to go hunt. And you go over the maps and you go over the area and you decide and you practice and you get everything ready for that one moment when you finally do get out to go hunting, so that when you take your shot, you are on target and you don't miss. So all that practice, all that preparation, all that thought, all that planning comes down to one fucking moment. The Prepared Mind channel is the same thing. You're getting the supplies you need. You're getting the intel in here. You're doing lots of practice, taking shots and understanding how this works. Government, economy, military, international, domestic, local, fruitcakes, wackadoos, communists, socialists, rhinos. You're getting all the practice in now. So when it finally comes to that real time, when shit is right in front of you, you have the things you need and the thoughts you need and the practice you need. That's what prepping is about. It's not about wasting your time. It's about getting prepared for that moment when it starts getting used and it's real and you want to be on target. All right. Ooh, man. Mon ami. Charlene Ayer says, my son has U.S. savings bonds. Should I get them cashed out? I am not a financial advisor. I cannot give financial and investment advice. If I had U.S. savings bonds, I would have sold them a long time ago. In fact, I did. Today, would I sell U.S. savings bonds? If the government defaults on its savings bonds, we're in big trouble. I can tell you what happens with governments when their currency fails and they have a new currency that they have to issue. France has done this, I think, 7 times in the last 100 years. What they do is they give you a grace period. They give you a month or 2 months to go turn in your old currency, your old cash, your old bonds for the new currency, right? And so if you've got 10 million in cash, fucking wheelbarrow load of cash, they're going to go, where'd you get that cash? But if you show up with a few $1,000s in cash or a few $1,000s in bonds, they're going to know that you probably earned it the old-fashioned way, and you're fine. If something goes so bad that they say the US dollar is now dead, defunct, etc., they'll allow you a grace period, I'm sure, to turn it in and get the new cash, even if it's the central bank digital currency, the CBDC. I wouldn't worry about that. What I could probably have a bigger concern about is their fungibility, or their ability to become liquid or useful. Most people, folks, if they see a dollar bill, they know what it is and what its approximate value is. $10 bill, $20 bill, $100 bill. They know what to exchange for it. Show someone a U.S. savings bond, they're going to wonder if you printed that off on your computer at home. They don't know what it's worth. They don't know how to cash it in. They don't know how to spend it, right? It's not useful in barter. A gold coin, a silver coin, those are useful in barter, especially with those who know its value. A lot more people know it. But it was a great question and a great thought to consider. If I had U.S. savings bonds, I wouldn't worry about them very much. I certainly wouldn't worry about them a whole lot more than currency. But if the currency fails, the bonds fail, the government fails, we're in big trouble anyways. Now, let's just pretend for a moment that the United States government fails absolutely. So the currency fails. So the bonds fail. Savings bonds, treasury bills, whatever. If you've got a chunk of silver or gold in your hand, that will always have real value. You see, our money right now is based on nothing. It's quite a bit different than precious metals or ammunition or food. They always have real value, real use. Okay, let us move on if we shall. We've got Christine Bihana checking in, and she says this: I called my bank of 30 years last week to inquire about their FDIC and other policies. Good thing I'm poor as fuck. They already had a public response ready. Apparently, they've been getting a ton of calls. Well, Christine, you didn't tell me really what they said, but I can tell you, folks, that I know a businessman in the Chicago area who is relatively, shall we say, wealthy. He's relatively good at what he does. He's been in business a long time. He's had a banking relationship a long time. He knows what the hell he's doing. And he got a call. He didn't call his bank. The bank called him. The bank wanted him to know that they've got everything is just fine. The bank's calling him a successful businessman because they don't want him to take his money out of their bank and put it somewhere else. Will banks have a public response? You bet your ass they do. So that anyone calls in, they want to keep them calm, right? They don't want them all excited and jittery making decisions. So yeah, the banks have responses. They're calling their buddies. They're calling their friends. They're calling their business partners, young, old, right, new. They're making the calls, and people are calling them. There's a lot of concern over this, and there should be. Because what do? We get a bunch of puppets on stage. Everything's fine, says Biden, right? We've got all the insurance is fine out there. The puppets, they're just saying the words. They're mouthing the words that they're told. Everyone stay calm. While the central banks release a statement saying they're all getting together to make sure there's enough liquidity on a daily basis to make it from sunset to sun up. Are you prepared? Okay, Uman, what do we got? Who is up next? It's Chin Music. He says, my fiance was forced to take it. I'm guessing he means the Jim Jones juice. She works out with me 6 days a week, and now out of nowhere, she's having hand cramps and severely low energy. Chin, it will not do any harm to detox. Get on a serious detox program. I have no idea how old she is or if she has other health problems. Of course, I'm going to say, we're supposed to go to physicians and make sure we're okay if we start having health issues. This is very disturbing, though. 6 days a week is a lot of working out, man. So to go from being in great shape to having, cramps, energy issues, and other problems, it's a concern. It really is. Anytime now I get a cramp. Yeah, I mean, we get cramps. We're human beings. We work hard. I start going, oh man, is this a Jim Jones juice symptom? I never took it, but is this what happens? How do you know? Right? So you have to pay attention to your health. And I really think that a lot of people who have gotten the Jim Jones juice and various boosters, I think that they don't tell people about the symptoms they're suffering from. I think they don't tell people how they're tired, how their health is low, right? How they're getting sick all the time. I think they don't tell people because they don't want them to know that they made a bad decision, that they're embarrassed about it, right? That they're afraid for their health. They're concerned that nothing can be done. And that's why I say a detox can't hurt you. In fact, a detox helps people, right? Anyways, I hope she gets the help and the attention she needs, Chin. That's very serious stuff. Very serious stuff to go down like that. Not good. Okay, man, where are we at? We have Christine behind again. She goes, from what I understand, Mr. Fester could be dead. And the demons, Democrats. I don't know if he dies because it will result in a runoff election until a certain time in the future where they can legally appoint someone. Thoughts? What we're talking about is Uncle Festerman, Senator Festerman. Is he dead? Is he alive? Does it even matter? The reason I'm going to put it to you that way, Christine, is, Hitler decided after the Reichstag fire that he would just become the Fuhrer. He would become the dictator that Germany needed in the 1930s, right? Fetterman has been hospitalized. Fetterman, the senator, was a bumbling idiot before he was elected. He was a vote for anything that Biden and the Democrats wanted. He was not going to be independent. He wasn't going to be useful in any fashion other than just securing one more vote. He wasn't going to create some new legislation. Fetterman was not going to solve any problems around the world, folks, or in America, or in his state, or even in his own household. Unbelievable. And speaking of political appointees, there is a Republican, a GOP, I'm going to call him a rhino, presidential candidate. He's a no-namer with the last name, folks, of Castro. And he has told New Yorkers that he thinks they should beat Trump supporters with a baseball bat. This is coming from the Republican Party, folks, or shall we say, institutionalized rhinos within the party. Our country, torn to pieces, you bet. Are you going to have to pick a side at some point? Probably. What side are you going to pick? Right? If you pick this lane, you go that way. If you pick that lane, you go that way. If you stand on the line between them and say, I don't know which side to pick, you can get run over by both. Because rhinos, they go back and forth between Democrat and Republican lanes. It's a mess. It's an absolute mess. What a fucking shit show we've got. And a shit show. Kabuki theater, shit show. It is a total shit show. I've got so many news stories that I didn't even get to. A mother had her 13-year-old daughter let her know what's going on in the classroom. The teacher in this classroom and in another classroom were playing Hunter Bear Hooker, basically a drinking game that is sexual in nature. Teachers, folks, are continuing to groom kids right in the classroom. Wake up. The Bidens are continuing to commit massive crime. Where's the prosecution? Where's the impeachment by McCarthy? It's non-existent. The banks are continuing to flop and fail. Yet they want to keep pumping money into it, saying, there's no consequence for that. We can just go in all this debt. We can just buy debt with more debt. And since nobody ever sees the money in the first place, it's not missed. We just need to have enough cash in circulation out there for people to do business. You think that's how it really works? Then why are banks collapsing? Why are banks going out of business? Why are corporations firing people by the thousands? A lot of questions need to be answered, folks. A lot of holes in the desert need to be filled. A lot of alligators in the swamp need to be fed. Welcome to Shit Hits the Fan 2023. And he says, John, following SHTF this year is about as easy as kicking an ant pile and then counting the ants. It's true. Every time you turn over a rock, these cockroaches and filthy insects called politicians, they're everywhere. They're all in it. They're all dirty. And every one of them is in one or another variety of SHTF scenarios playing out. Military, law, school, education, social, ghetto, rural, environmental, political, corporate, food, mining, production, manufacturing, international shipping, name it. Name it. Good stuff, folks. I sure hope you got your fill. I'm good and full. We've gone over an hour and 6 minutes, and I just don't feel like we've covered it all. We haven't scratched the surface. Kicking an anthill and then trying to count the ants. That is what this crap is they've dumped on our heads. Craziness. Man, are we done for now? Are we wrapping it up? I say we wrap it the hell up. I agree with you, brother. Let's do this. Let us close on out of here. And I'll see you bright and early, 0 dark 30. Semper Fi. Always faithful. Godspeed. God bless. We'll be back.